Hey, hello everybody. I got a day six. Lori Ballo Daybell. Let's get into it. And shout out to Hidden True Crime for
A
this.
case like this will ruin your iPhone 16, and here's why. Apple's iPhone.
Hello, Hidden Gems. What a day in court. I always say that, but it's because it's true. I'll just have you know, I always come back each night going, wow, what just happened? And today is no exception. Wow. Lori's lies exposed. Before we begin, I have all my notes down here. I would like to wish our OG moderator, Troublemaker Baker, a very happy birthday today. Thank you for being here. And by request, by popular demand, we have new trial merch, limited edition trial merch. Honestly, I think this is so cute. Nonchalant. I love that brown sweatshirt, by the way. Oh, I love that one too. Nonchalant. I think that's the style, but there are 3 different styles. I love it, and we are going to get more into that. If you are new to my channel, I'm Lauren Mathias. I am an investigative journalist. We are recapping every day of the Lori Vallow Daybell trial and bringing you our favorite insider trial merchandise. So if you don't know what nonchalant means, never fear. We're going to get into it today. So just stick with me. That's good merch, I have to say. So the day started off actually a little rocky for Lori. If you recall, there was an issue yesterday with Lori's team sending Charles's brother, Bobby Vallow, a subpoena, even though he is considered a protected victim as next of kin. Well, prosecutor Trina raised the same issue today because apparently Larry Woodcock, Kay Woodcock's husband, was also sent a subpoena by Lori's team. And Lori is not supposed to have access to these individuals, their addresses or their contact information or any of this personal information. But yet, despite that, she signed off on all of these subpoenas. Her name is signed at the bottom of each one, which is a clear violation of victims' rights. Lori tried to say that it was just a clerical oversight, even though she's the one who signs the documents. She actually said she was sorry. I am so sorry. So let's hear then what Judge Boreski had to say. We'll get that. 1 second. Loving the comments, guys. Well, we're looking for this soundbite.
Check on that, Your Honor, but not that we're aware of.
As to the extent that you have subpoenas for next of kin on either of your cases, you need to coordinate the service of those subpoenas through the county attorney's office. They can facilitate in that and getting those people served if they are indeed witnesses that have relevant information in these cases.
And both of those people, Your Honor, Robert Vallow and Larry Woodcock, were not on my list and were not intended to be subpoenaed. So it was an oversight.
So I don't know how OPS got that information to serve them subpoenas. So someone on your team needs to double check with OPGS that the correct people are being subpoenaed.
And Your Honor, they are signed by the defendant. So she is the one who's signing those subpoenas. She is the one acting as counsel. So she's the one asking to send those out.
So how was it an oversight?
I just signed them all. And we got them prepared and I signed them all and I did not check them. It's my own fault. But I apologize to the family.
You're not a practicing lawyer, so why the hell are you signing them?
The names of all the people you subpoenaed, or you just signed a stack of subpoenas?
I did sign the stack, but I thought I was aware of all that they were the ones that I had asked to subpoena.
For this trial or for the next one as well?
Just for this one, we haven't done our subpoenas yet for the next trial.
That's right. And for the next trial, I need you to be more diligent in what you're signing. And if there is a subpoena for someone who is a next of kin or a victim under the Victim's Bill of Rights, the subpoena that needs to be coordinated through the county attorney's office, or is there a victim representative attorney? I haven't had one yet.
There's not a victim representative attorney, so it would come through us, Your Honor.
Okay.
I actually think the judge is being rather kind to Lori, but we did just hear the judge tell Lori that she needs to be much more diligent for her next trial. The next trial is the trial where she faces charges in the attempted murder of Brandon Boudreaux. It'll be her third trial. And I have a feeling that the judge may not be so lenient then. And obviously, Lori's not an attorney, although she is playing one for all of us on YouTube. And there is a lot to learn when it comes to the law, but you have to wonder if these types of mistakes were really unintentional, because we know Lori. And so I have to just simply wonder if this is perhaps a way of getting under Charles's family member's skin. There were a few more motions regarding some additional defense witnesses that Lori's investigator was not able to locate to serve a subpoena, and Judge Bresky basically told Lori that she is out of time. I mean, yes, the prosecution might rest this week. I would suggest she is out of time. And he pretty much told her it is too late to get them on the defense witness list. And once Judge Bresky was done reprimanding Lori, the jury was brought in, and we immediately jumped back into cross exam with Detective Cassandra Inklin. To remind everyone, Detective Inklin interviewed Lori and Tylee at the police station the day that Charles was shot and killed. But before we get back into Lori's cross exam, a quick word from our trial sponsor, Dream. Is this thing on? Hey, Jans, just finished my live for the night. Well, just finished it, got some housekeeping done, some other stuff going on, and I am now needing to wind down. It's the second week of the Lori Daybell trial, and I just wanted to take you through what I do at night. Well, kind of, because I already did it, and then I thought, oh, I should turn this on and show you guys. But here's my delicious dream tonight. It's actually Dream Beam. It's actually chocolate peanut butter flavor. Where is it? Well, here it is. So I just did hot water in the Keurig. Here we go. And there it is. Oh, and there's all my medications and vitamins you can see I'm attempting to take. But I love this. Like I said, it's just been another long day at trial. And I love reporting at trial. I hope I don't complain too much. I love the trial reporting. But it is just, it's long days. I wouldn't do it if I didn't love it. But it is exhausting, and I am wired and tired. You know when your brain is dead and you're like, I've got to go to bed. And by dead I just mean foggy and it's time, and then all of a sudden you're like, I'm wired and I'm not going to be able to sleep, and I'm thinking about what I saw today in the courtroom and about my family at home and all of the things going on in my life, and I get anxious and I don't sleep, to your mind. But that is why I love my dream. So I sip this. Everybody's in bed. I'm not. Need to go. It's right before I wash my face and brush my teeth. A lot of times, let's be honest, a lot of times I take this drink this after I've washed my face, but not for you guys. We're gonna spare you. So I'm gonna wash my face after I brush my teeth and head to bed and just sip this. And it tastes delicious. It's low calorie, like 10 calories, I think. Vegan, dairy-free is important in our family, and gluten-free, keto-friendly. Anything you could want in a drink, and it's so fun to just have this hot drink and wind down. Just sort of the action of being able to sip a hot drink right before bed is so nice. I drink a hot drink when I wake up, and now I get one when I fall asleep. You can head to the link in the description of this episode or in a pinned comment, or you can use the QR code if you're watching this on a video, and you can get up to 35% off of your first order. And I just want to thank them. They are an amazing company. I don't say that lightly. They have been so good to us, so kind, and they are helping us to sponsor this trial and this time in Phoenix, Arizona, so that we can all witness justice and watch Lori make the mistake of representing herself. Anyway, time for bed. We'll see you. Good night. Wow, back to day 6 and Lori's early morning cross-exam with Detective Cassandra Inkling. And Lori, well, let's just say that she either wasn't paying attention yesterday during Inkling's testimony, a possibility, or she slept on things while in her cell and woke up deciding that she had nothing to lose and just really wanted to hear herself talk. Also a possibility. Because Lori immediately jumped into Cross with questions about Charles's cell phone again. Questions she has already received answers to yesterday and other days, like the chain of custody of the phone, how Charles's phone went from Charles to Lori to Inkling to other law enforcement, or whether Inkling ever opened Charles's phone, which Inkling testified in direct examination yesterday. No, that she did not open his phone. And then Lori seemed to shift her questioning, and when I say questioning, aka testifying, over to how cooperative she was that day on July 11th, 2019. But then still continued about the phone. Let's take a listen.
Yesterday, we watched the clip of my interview with you, and we discussed the threatening text messages. Is that correct?
Correct. You told me about them.
And you stated that I did not show them to you. Is that correct?
You did not show them to me, no.
And did you ask me to show them to you?
I did not.
Had I been cooperative all that day?
Yes.
Do you think I would have shown them to you if you would have asked me?
Objection, speculation.
Sustained.
Was Tylee also cooperative that day?
I believe so.
Was Alex cooperative that day?
I don't know. I did not have contact with Alex.
At all?
I did not interview him or talk to him, no.
Did I, in fact, inform you during that interview that I would have to show you them to explain them?
I believe so.
But you never asked me to show them to you?
I did not.
Did you ever request that I turn my phone over to you?
I did not.
Did you ever request that Tylee turned her phone over to you?
I did not.
In the course of your investigation, did you ever, in fact, see those threatening messages from Charles to me?
I did not. I did not look at any of the downloads of any of the phones.
Or in the reports or anything?
No.
You never came across those?
I did not review those reports or do any of the downloads of any of the phones.
You didn't review any of Detective Duncan's reports?
No.
None of Detective Moffitt's reports?
No.
Okay. Were you aware of the reason why I had 2 phones at the time?
I was not.
Did you ask me?
No, I wasn't aware you had 2 phones.
In the course of your investigation, did you ever learn that Charles had stolen my phone, so I had to replace it?
Object to testifying and move to strike.
Sustained.
Your Honor, it's all part of the investigation.
Sustained its testimony. The form of the question was testimony.
Were you aware that after he gave it back to me that I kept both phones?
I'm going to again object.
Sustained.
Detective, in the course of your investigation, did you learn that Charles had a $2 million life insurance policy on me?
I knew there was a life insurance policy. I don't know the amount.
Did you ever see it in any of the reports, or?
I did not review, and I was not part of that portion of the investigation.
And you never saw that on any kind of Bates numbers?
I'm going to object again to ask and answer.
I'll allow it. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
You didn't see it on any kind of Bates numbers?
No, Bates would be what the county attorney does. That's after me, so I didn't review that portion of the report.
Okay.
Before we move on, I just want to say it's so good to see Kay Woodcock in chat on this live today. Kay, we love you, and we are all hoping for justice for Charles, and we are with you. Oh boy. Afterwards, Lori shifted back to the interview she had with Detective Inklin on July 11th, 2019. Inklin confirmed that all three of them, meaning Lori, Alex, and Tylee, were interviewed in 3 separate rooms. Lori seemed to want to drive a point home that the detectives doing the interviews were not supervising each other's interviews. And Inklin explained that because they weren't being interviewed as suspects, only witnesses, there really was no additional supervision beyond cameras in the room recording the exchanges. Well, Lori asked about the press release then that police sent to media after the shooting. And then once again, seemed as if she was trying to show the jury that Lori was a trustworthy person. Because, yeah, let's try to say that. Take a listen.
Are you aware of the press release that was issued by Chandler Police Department later that day?
I am not.
You never read it?
I don't.
You never heard about it in the course of your investigation?
The press release?
Yeah.
No.
You never discussed it with any of the other detectives?
I would object. She's asked and answered.
Sustain.
Would the case agent have to be the one who would authorize that at the time?
It depends. As a case agent, we would like to have input or influence on what a press release is or states, but occasionally they're published by our PIO, our press information officer.
So do you know if Detective Moffat was the case agent at the time, is that correct?
He was.
And so do you know if he talked to the PIO and put that out, or if he didn't know?
Objection, speculation.
Sustain.
Do you know if the PIO agent just put it out?
Objection, she doesn't know about this.
Do you know?
I have no idea.
Detective Inklin, yesterday the prosecutor asked you several times, why didn't Lori just give the phone back? Is that correct?
That's correct.
Did you learn in your investigation that the entire altercation only lasted a few minutes?
That'd be a fair assessment.
Because we discussed that in our interview, is that correct?
We did.
So from the time Tyler came out with the bat and I ran outside is maybe less than 2 minutes. We discussed that. Is that correct?
We discussed that it probably happened in a short amount of time. I don't think we gave a specific time amount to what happened, but that it happened in a relatively short amount of time.
We didn't say that was like 1 to 2 minutes. Like,
that was our discussion, yes.
yeah, that was our discussion. Okay. So we would not have been arguing for a very long time. Is that correct?
I think it's relative as to how long you've been arguing or how long the altercation took.
Detective, in the course of your investigation, did you learn that JJ was outside in the car?
I did.
Did you learn that the car was still running?
I don't know.
Did you learn that JJ was in fact in the front seat?
I know that you had articulated he was put into the car, but I don't remember if you specifically said the front seat, but he was in the car.
Did you learn in the course of your investigation that JJ had autism?
Yes, you told me about that.
Did you verify that at his school?
I did speak with his school, yes.
When did you speak with the school?
During the course of the investigation, I had contact with the school in reference to when he attended and generally kind of the services the school provides.
Do you remember who you spoke to at the school at all?
The director of the school, and then subsequently there were a couple teachers that provided some information.
And how long after July 11th was that first communication with the school?
It was just several months later.
But during the course of this investigation, the Chandler Police Department did verify, I guess, that next day that was, in fact, his school and he did attend there. Is that correct?
I believe so.
During this investigation, did you verify that we did, in fact, go through Burger King?
I did not, but it was verified.
Were you aware of what we ordered at Burger King?
You told me it was chicken fries and Sprite.
You hadn't seen that receipt?
I had not.
Okay. I guess that was, in fact, in a portion of one of the interviews that we watched yesterday. Is that correct?
Correct. You told me that in the interview.
So were you aware that we also ordered 2 bottles of water?
I was not aware, no.
And in your experience with people in stressful situations, when adrenaline kicks in, does it make you incredibly thirsty?
I don't object to speculation or knowledge.
If she knows, she can answer.
It can.
And when you're in fight or flight mode, does your adrenaline kick in your experience?
I would object here to knowledge and foundation as to her knowledge of this.
I'll sustain the objection.
Did you offer Tylee and I apple juice at the Chandler Police Station?
I think I offered you something to drink and what we typically would have there.
Did you offer that for the purpose that adrenaline makes you thirsty?
No, I usually do it to people I interview if they'd like something to drink while they're there.
Detective England, have you ever seen me not calm?
I would object to maybe foundation as to when.
All right, sustain. Lay more foundation on when she has, what occasions she has had to observe you.
Well, yesterday, you spoke often of my calm demeanor, my nonchalantness. Is that correct?
Correct.
So, has there ever been an occasion when you have seen me when I was not calm?
Again, foundation as to when she has seen her on July 11th.
Please clarify the time frame you're referring to where she had an opportunity to observe.
Any other time, Your Honor?
For example, how many hours on July?
Can we have a sidebar? Can I ask you a question?
So let's just all take a moment to remind Lori just how nonchalant she is and how nonchalant she probably shouldn't be. And let's all wear her favorite word. We have new merch. Take a look at this. Nonchalant. Made in true crime. Nonchalant. And nonchalant. Nonchalant. And we'll all enjoy drinking our 2 bottles of water in our nonchalant care. Anyway, yeah, she loves that word, doesn't she? Doesn't she? Well, after a sidebar, Lori returned to finish her cross-exam with Detective Inklin. And Inklin, well, she seems to return Lori's energy right back at her. Take a listen to this.
Detective England, did you discover in your investigation that I had run outside without shoes?
Yes, kind of.
And did you learn in that investigation that we had stopped at Walgreens and I did purchase 2 pairs of flip-flops?
Yeah, you told me that.
I mean, in that was verified later?
It was by a different detective.
Okay. You didn't verify that at Walgreens or at Burger King, is that correct?
I did not. That was a different detective.
Okay. And as part of your investigation, did you view the video of me going into the Walgreens to purchase the footballs?
I did not.
Okay. And how hot was it that day on July 11th, 2019?
Warm.
Like in the hundreds?
July in Arizona. I'd say it was probably warm.
Would it have been difficult to walk JJ to his class on the cement with no shoes on, do you think?
Objection relevance? Speculation.
Sustained. I think the jury can draw their own conclusions about the temperature in Arizona in mid-July.
Detective, did you learn in your investigation that after taking JJ to his classroom that Tylee and I headed straight back to the house?
I believe so.
And that we met with police? Is that correct?
Correct. You
As soon as we drove up, first contact was with
Officer Krautheim.
Yes, Krautheim. Okay, thank you. Detective, is it your understanding that we fully cooperated with the police?
You were cooperative with interviews with me.
That we did as we were instructed?
You, with me in your interview, you were cooperative.
And Tylee was cooperative with you as well, correct?
I believe so.
And that you had said yesterday that we were voluntarily interviewed by the police, is that correct?
Correct. You were not in custody.
Did we know that?
I believe so.
When we were placed in those interview rooms, did we know that we could just walk out and leave anytime? Was that explained to us, is my question.
You can ask that.
Can you say it again?
Was it explained to us at any time that we could just walk out of those interview rooms and leave if we had wanted to?
No.
Did I in fact ask you at one point if I could go to the ladies' room?
I believe so.
Detective, did we answer all the questions asked to us by the police that day?
By me, yes, I believe so.
And we were dropped off at home by the police, is that correct?
Correct. I drove you back to the house.
And we were given no further instructions, is that correct?
Just that we would be in touch with you at the conclusion of the search warrant.
Is it also correct that we voluntarily handed over Charles' phone to you when you asked for it?
Yes.
Did we delay in that or just do it immediately?
No, you gave it to me when I asked.
Was there any time, Detective, on July 11th, 2019, that we did not comply or cooperate fully with the police investigation?
In my interaction with you, you were cooperative.
Thank you, that's all I have, Your Honor.
I love how she kept saying, in the interaction with me, you are cooperative. I also loved the little eye roll that Detective Inkling gave when Lori couldn't remember Krautheim's name. Well, once Lori concluded her cross, Prosecutor Trina Kay was back up for redirect, and she came in with some zingers. Let's watch.
Asked a lot about her demeanor that day. Both when you first interacted with her, taking her over to the van, correct?
Correct.
Did Lori Vallow's behavior stand out to you?
It did.
Why?
So, based on what was going on, that we had a homicide, her husband had been shot and killed, her brother was the one who shot and killed her husband, it was inside her home, her children were at least partially present to this event. Her demeanor seemed odd given what was going on at the house that day.
So throughout this time, you're just noting her demeanor, right?
Correct.
You were asked about whether or not you were calm at the scene. Do you recall being asked that on cross?
I believe so.
Had you just seen your husband get shot
No.
inside your own home
No.
by your brother?
No.
You were asked if the other officers at the scene were calm. You recall being asked that?
I do.
Were you aware of any of them having just seen their significant others being shot
No.
by a family member
No.
inside their own home
No.
with their children present?
No.
So would it be difficult to compare the demeanor of the officers and yourself with that of, say, Alex or Tylee or the defendant?
It would be difficult comparison.
Not the same situation.
No.
You were asked a lot about Tylee's demeanor as well. Did you ever see her appearing to be panicked,
No.
overwhelmed with emotions?
No.
Was there anything about her demeanor or your interactions with her that made you feel she needed any type of medical treatment or medication or anything?
No.
Well, Prosecutor Trina seemed to focus on the timeline of July 11th a bit more in her redirect with Detective Inkling, asking about what Inkling knew time-wise from the moment that she arrived at the crime scene that day. Inkling testified that initially she did think that the 911 call came in right after the shooting. Like, why wouldn't you think that? Not realizing, though, that the 911 call was placed by Alex nearly 45 minutes after Charles was shot. And remember how much
Wait a minute,
Lori
it was that
focused on
much
getting
time?
apple juice and water bottles? Well, Prosecutor Trina had questions prepared for that, too. Take a listen.
When you were interviewing the defendant, is it normal for you to offer drinks to people when they're being interviewed?
Absolutely.
Normal for you to allow them to use the restroom?
Yes.
And you did that here just like you normally would?
I did.
Nothing different or unusual in that?
No.
Detective, when you were interviewing the defendant on July 11th, did the defendant tell you that she and Charles argued about the phone prior to Tylee ever becoming involved?
I am so sick of her speaking about
Did she tell
herself
you that
in the third person.
she had
It's weird.
initially obtained Charles's phone, and when he asked for it back, she said no?
Correct.
This is before Tylee's there.
That's right.
Does she tell you that she then, in fact, confronts Charles about who he's texting?
Correct.
And that's again before Charles is out there,
Before Tylee was there.
before Tylee is there. And she advised you that she still wouldn't give him back his phone, even though he demanded it then.
Correct.
Did she tell you that she was walking away with Charles's phone prior to Tylee coming out while he is still demanding his phone back?
Correct.
So there were multiple occasions that she told you about prior to any bat or gun being involved that she could have just handed the phone back over,
That's correct.
and she did not.
That's correct.
In terms of your interview with the defendant, did you understand all the facts of the case when you interviewed the defendant?
No.
You told us you didn't understand the timeline yet in terms of when the shooting occurred versus when the 911 call occurred, right?
Correct.
So you were unaware of that 47-minute lapse in time.
Correct.
If you had known that, would you have asked about that?
I would have asked about that, yes.
When you were interviewing the defendant, you were unaware that she had Charles's phone, correct?
Correct.
If you had known that, would you have asked about that?
I would have asked about that, yes.
When the defendant was talking to you at one point, she told you that she knew her brother was texting with, or that Charles was texting with her brother Adam. Do you recall that?
Yes, she told me that.
Understanding now that she had Charles's phone, would you have asked her how she learned about that?
I would have asked her about that, yes.
So when you're doing an interview with her at 9 or 10 in the morning, you didn't know that she'd had time to look into Charles's phone?
Correct.
You learned later that she had the password to get into his phone, right?
Correct.
So when she's telling you things, you're unaware that she has already potentially had the ability to access those.
That's true.
After redirect, a couple questions from the jury were asked. In fact, there were more juror questions following Detective Inklin's testimony than any other thus far. All of a sudden, the jurors had questions, and a lot of them. They included, number one, was Charles's rental car searched? Inklin said that she did not believe so, but wasn't sure. And I do want to make a correction. In my lunch live, I initially thought she had believed that it had been searched, which is actually what many heard on the media row from inside the courtroom. So I will clarify that now. She says she did not believe so. Inklin, we confirmed, said she did not believe the car had been searched. Number two, if the defendant and the daughter were interviewed as witnesses, why were they left with a victim advocate? Were they considered victims or witnesses? Inklin gave a long-winded answer about how, although they weren't classified as victims at the time, victim services were still available to them and could be of service. Juror question number three. Did Lori express concerns about police talking with Tylee at the time of the interview? Inklin stated no. Very quickly. She was just like, nope, not at all. And juror question number four. Does law enforcement have to advise interviewees that they are being audio or video recorded? Inklin explained that no, they do not, as there is no exception of privacy inside a police station. And I will be honest, I shared this during my lunch live outside the courtroom today, that these juror questions made me a bit nervous. Rather than asking where Tylee is or who JJ is with currently, two questions that could really get the jurors to understand information and perhaps open the door to Lori being a convicted murderer of her own children. They instead asked questions about Lori's rights at the police station. At least that's what it felt like to me. I felt that perhaps the questions that they were asking implied them questioning were Lori's rights violated and was the police investigation botched. It was a bit worrisome. But I did see, thank you, Steph. I believe it was Steph that sent that super chat that said she disagrees with me. She actually thinks that they're on to Lori and they are just clarifying some things. And I think that you could be right. Sometimes I jump to conclusions with juror questions and I get worried. So we continue on. The next witness to take the stand was Ariel Werther. Now, Werther also testified at Lori's Idaho trial in 2023, 2 years ago. He is a detective with the Chandler Police Department and works in the homicide and robbery unit. He's had extensive training in interpreting cell phone and GPS data for investigations and has testified in court as an expert. In 2019, Werther was working in the Special Victims Unit and was shadowing officers in the Homicide Unit to learn and potentially make this his specialty. Well, he became aware of the shooting that occurred at Lori's residence and asked to come along to help on the call that July 11th, 2019. And after arriving, Werther initially observed and shadowed Detective Coons, who was conducting the scene investigation. Well, he wasn't really given any of his own tasks to do on the case until the next day, on July 12th. That's when Werther became aware that nobody had gathered any contact information for 7-year-old JJ, and Werther offered to reach out to get Lori to give him that information. And so he called Lori, and she told him that she had taken JJ to Burger King that morning after the shooting and prior
to dropping JJ off at school at Lauren's Life Academy. Werther also learned that Lori had located Charles's hotel key for his room at the True Hilton in his wallet. He let her know that the case agent would be retrieving the wallet and key from her later that day. Well, Werther offered to go to Burger King to see if he could obtain any video footage from when Lori stopped there for breakfast with JJ and Tylee. He knew that the 911 call from Alex Cox had been placed at 8:36 a.m. and that police had arrived at the house at 8:41 a.m. Actually, pretty quickly. Think about it. 911 call 8:36 and arriving at the house 5 minutes later at 8:41. Well, Lori and Tylee arrived back at the house a few minutes later around 8:48 a.m. So Werther was considering these times before going to Burger King so he could have a general timeline in order to ask for the footage, right? So he's like, okay, got it. It's going to be just before the 911 call, since Lori stated that she was at the house when the shooting occurred, and she technically shouldn't have been at Burger King until sometime after 8:30. However, given the distance to Burger King and the fact that Lori was already back to the house by 8:48, Werther knew there was some discrepancy going on with the timeline. Like, obviously. So let's listen to how this thought process was working during this moment.
So when you went out there, were you aware of that? I guess when you went out to Burger King, were you also under an understanding that Lori Vallow had said she was at the house when Charles Vallow was shot?
That was my understanding, yes.
So did all of that play into when you would assume the timing of her arriving at Burger King?
It didn't.
So sometime after 8:36 is what you're expecting?
Damn it.
To some extent. I was aware that there's a little bit of a logistical difficulty in the question of how one could leave at 8:36 or at just after, and then arrive back by 8:48, knowing the distances and knowing the city of Chandler like I do. So because of that, knowing that it was clearly the case that she was there at 8:48 because she was on officer's body-worn video, then I knew that there was some chance I would find that the video was in fact prior to the 911 call, because otherwise the distances and the travel didn't seem quite right.
So you see this 12-minute time from when 911 is called to when she arrives back, and you're thinking that there's no way to go to Burger King and drop a kid off at school and get back?
Correct. One of the other things that I was trying to establish when I called her is where she had taken him to school, and to confirm that we hadn't misunderstood about the Burger King event happening after the shooting. Because we hadn't misunderstood, and then learning where the school's approximately 7 miles away from the house. So the idea that one could in 12 minutes go to a Burger King, get their order, drive 7 miles one way, 7 miles back.
I'll let this go for a couple more minutes and then I'm gonna be done.
Werther made his way to Burger King, closest to Lori's house, which was located on East Ocotillo Road in Chandler. He asked for the surveillance footage and saw Lori's red Kia Sorento going through the drive-thru at 7:54 a.m. Since Alex did not place the 911 call until 8:36, Werther started to feel like something was going on, and is one of the main reasons law enforcement decided to pursue the investigation further. So Werther, thank you for this work that you did. If Lori said that she left right after Charles was shot, but the Burger King wasn't at the Burger King until nearly 40 minutes before the 911 call, it became obvious that somebody was not telling the truth. Hopefully the jury sees that too. Later that afternoon, Detective Werther met with Lori at her house to retrieve Charles's hotel room key. He and Detective Moffat then made their way to the True Hilton to search Charles's hotel room. Inside, they secured his belongings, including a backpack, 2 suitcases, and a laptop, and turned them in for impounding at the police station. Next, Werther testified that during the investigation, he was originally told that Lori went to a CVS the morning of the shooting. He's not sure if he misheard the information or if Lori accidentally misspoke, but he ended up going to 7 different CVS's looking for footage of Lori and was completely unsuccessful.
Okay.
Because after He reviewed the GPS data that was extracted from Charles's cell phone, which gives the times and coordinates of locations where the phone has been. With that information, Werther learned that Lori, who was in possession of Charles's cell phone, actually visited a Walgreens. And what time did she visit the Walgreens? At 8:15 a.m. Not CVS, as originally thought. He was able to obtain the footage and receipt from Lori's purchase, which it was 2 pairs of flip-flops. Werther explained that he created a PowerPoint of all of the pertinent information that he found during the investigation, including surveillance footage, receipts, GPS, cell phone records, and cell tower data for Lori, Charles, and Alex. On the PowerPoint, we were able to see a map which will show the approximate time and location of each person's cell phone. There were 2 phones for Lori being depicted in purple and blue, Charles's phone in red, and Alex's phone in green. So we're talking color-coded now. That's when you know it's going to get complicated, when things start becoming color-coded. So Charles's phone in red, Alex's in green, Lori's purple and blue. Why? Because she has 2 phones. On the next slide, we could see Charles's phone at the True Hilton Hotel at 7:16 a.m. Between 7:16 and 7:31, Charles's phone moves from the hotel to Lori's house. Makes sense. Going to pick up his little boy for school. And the last outgoing communication from Charles's phone occurred at 7:37 a.m. And his phone stayed at the house until 7:49 a.m. And then at 7:50, his phone leaves the house. And at 7:52, Alex calls Lori's phone. At 7:52 to 7:56, Charles's phone was at or near the Burger King, and we can see a video of Lori's car in the drive-through here. Let's watch.